Rhythm and Soul Radio. I am Marco Nobles. We have our virtual studio open, and we have a guest who was just here not that long ago, but he's back because now he has the full album released. Wade C. Long, A Long Story is the album, and it's a continuing story from when we were here a while back. What's happening, man? How are you?
What's happening, Marco? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. You released a single when we talked, I guess about 3 months ago now, and
Right.
then we got the full album. So talk about that. Now you're ready to release this to the world, man. Talk about how you're feeling about it.
I am so excited, man. The new single, "Celebrate You," featuring Hill Street Soul,
Yes.
is charting really high. I checked; it was number two on Amazon UK's new R&B releases. It's getting a lot of great feedback from radio. I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased.
Yeah, man, we're playing it. It's some folks are calling it like one of those timeless duets that you hear. And you told the story when you were here before about how you were able to connect with Hill Street Soul.
Right.
She's been doing her thing for a long time. Particularly in the independent world, a lot of us have been following her for years, and you just kind of connected just being online, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had worked with Tom Glide, who did a remix for Electricity, which I think was out the last time I
Last
was
time we
here.
spoke, yeah,
Yeah, so Tom did a remix, and while we were working, I said, I know you worked with Hill before. Would you mind reaching out and seeing if she might be interested in collab? And I have this song she sound amazing on. And Tom said, yeah, I'll reach out and see what she thinks. He reached out. She said it was okay to reach out to her. Sent her an email. Didn't hear back for a few days. And I was like, okay, maybe she's not interested or maybe she's busy or whatever. And that's when I had given up pretty much. She responded, asked me a couple questions. I responded to her. She said, I'm in. And that was pretty much it. She
nice.
just did as much like everybody knows how phenomenal she is for decades. Has just been banging out amazing vocal stuff, and I feel like it's right at the top of the list of everything that she's done. I mean, she really brought it on this track, and it was so wonderful to see it all come together the way it did.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, talk about some of the other folks you worked with on this album. Long Story, Wait See Long is has the new album out. Talk about some of the other folks you worked with, whether it was artists, producers, etc.
Yeah, so I worked with my homie Christian Damasonis, chart topping smooth jazz bassist. I just had a Billboard number one last year, and he came with me on this song called Trends Jam, which is a song that I wrote for my two lovely great nieces, Trinity and Jamie. Wanted to write them a little piece, and it just grew into something so cool. And when I got kind of towards the end of it, I was like, man, this is good, but it needs a little bit more on it. So I asked Christian to come in and share the track with me and play his bass. And did he ever? He took it to a place that I didn't even know he could, to be honest. And just made
Hmm.
it funky and fun. He did that. Also, I worked with Jay Sherwood, who is a rapper. We've worked several times together, and he just brings it strong every time. He was on a track that's called "Take You Out," along with Andres Coca, who is a phenomenal guitarist. Andres played with me on my Longitude Part One Keys Please EP, which came out in 2021. We did a track called Mr. Jones, and I asked him to play on this.
Okay.
So I had a lot of really talented people to come alongside me this time, and that was one of the things that I wanted to do different than my last LP, Nostalgia. I wanted people on a long story. I wanted some people to come along with me and kind of help make it what it is. So And
Right.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. It seems like the people are really happy with it so far. So I think
Right.
I made a good choice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, well, like you said, when we talked before, you had released Electricity. Now, when you released Electricity, you hadn't had the full album done yet, right? You were still kind of putting the pieces together.
Right. When released Electricity, it's probably about 90, 95% done.
Mm,
Wanted to go ahead and drop something out ahead of it. But yeah, we weren't quite done. And actually, right around that time was when Hill was getting involved
mm.
for Celebrate You. And so finished that off and a couple other tracks. And then we were done. But you're right, it wasn't quite done the last time I was here.
Right, but you had at least you knew kind of like how the pieces would fit. Like you said, Hill Street Soul was just getting involved, so you may not have known that that was going to be the next single. Obviously, when you get Hill Street Soul on a project, you definitely want to feature that. You
Right, right.
know,
I
yeah,
mean, I had a pretty, from the time that she was said that she was going to do the song, I had a pretty good idea we were going to make that the next single. I mean, why not at that
right.
point? And it's just really good to be able to release something like that alongside the album. I just feel like it's a good way to introduce the album to everybody too.
Right, right. And the fact that you're releasing the album like right at the beginning of the year, the album was just released on January 6th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like the first um almost like the first new music that you get to hear coming right out of the holidays and everything. Was how intentional was that to kind of really get to people right away?
100% intentional. Well, let me back up a little bit. Originally, this album was supposed to come out in 2021. I
Mm,
kept crafting it and kept cutting some songs and adding some new ones. But from the time I would say early last year when I knew I had an idea of when we were going to be done, I definitely wanted to target the top of the year just because past couple of years have been so wild for everybody.
mm-hmm.
And I wanted to put a couple of songs, well, most of the songs on the album to be kind of feel good tracks. Even a couple social conscious songs that I put on there, I wanted to kind of take to a time when we had a lot of those songs that kind of like Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield. They would give you songs that were socially conscious but made
Mm-hmm.
you feel good at the same time. So even with
Right.
those pieces, I wanted it to be a feel good album and kind of see what we could do about just starting the year off on a different foot and taking it in another direction, a more positive place.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know this is always a hard question. But when you think about the album now that it's out, do you have like a favorite track or favorite tracks on the album?
Oh, nah, daddy loves all his babies the same. You know how it is.
Right. That's why I said I know it's a hard question because it's hard to
I
ask an
I
artist
love
what
them
their
all
favorite.
differently though. It's like they all do something different for me. They all express a different thing a different message that I wanted to get out. And so I mean,
Mm,
obviously, Celebrate You is at the top of the list just because it was with Hill and just because it's such a fun song to me. But then probably which will probably be the next single, She's Not Mine. To me, that's just a nice groove.
mm,
Kind of gives me nod in my head. Um, and then also like Turn It Around. I love there are times when that's my favorite, just because of the message in it and just talking about bringing people together and love and unity and stuff. So I really, honestly, yeah, that's a real tough question. I can't pick one,
right.
um, but I don't know. I'll leave that up to y'all.
All right, all right. Lumen Soul Radio. We're talking with Wade C. Long. The new album, A Long Story, is available now everywhere you can get your music. I know you're creating a lot. So you said this was supposed to come out in 2021. You finally have released it at the beginning of 2023. So is it a sense that you kind of okay, I'm done with this now. Now it's on to the next thing because there've been other things in your head that you've been working on, or are you kind of sitting with this a little bit and waiting for the next inspiration?
I'm gonna have to sit with this for a little bit. For one reason, like as an indie artist, I have to switch hats. Like so, for a while I was an artist. For a while I was a songwriter, and then I was a producer, and then I was an artist, and then I was a producer again, and then I was a mixing
Mm,
engineer. So now I'm a promoter and a label,
right,
and a
right,
little bit of a manager. So I need to be able to run that its full course at least as much as I can right now, so that um, once something it's time to do something new, I can be able to fully concentrate on that too. But I want to make sure that we give this album everything that it needs to be right now before I even look toward anything else.
right. I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
Um, so tell everybody how they can follow you, get the album. We always tell people as much as they can if they can get it direct from the artist, direct from the source, do it that way. There's always the Amazons and the, and all the other, titles and all of that. But there are other hands in the pot, and if you go
yeah,
direct, it goes direct. So tell everybody how they can get to
that's true. I'm still dealing with those hands right now. I don't have a way to get it directly yet, but keep an eye out for that. Until then, I will always have everything on my website, or letting you know how you can get to it on my website, wadeclongmusic.com. And then also my socials at Wade C Long. I like to keep everybody up to date on that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those are at Wade C Long. YouTube is Wade C Long Music. But as far as actually picking up the project, you can do that, like you said, at Amazon. You do that iTunes, or if you're more on the streaming level, all of the usual suspects, whatever you use, will probably be able to bring up the project to take a listen.
Absolutely. It's Rhythm and Soul Radio. We've been speaking with Wade C. Long. The new album is A Long Story. Part of that story is Celebrate You, Wade C. Long with Hill Street Soul, the current single. And that's what we're going to get into now. Brother, thank you so much once again. All the success. We look forward to doing this again whenever we need.
Margot, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me again, brother.
All right. Rhythm and Soul Radio, Wade C. Long, Hill Street Soul, Celebrate You.